Hey everybody, it's Dr. Gina Page, President and co-founder of AfricanAncestry.com. It's Monday. Happy Monday, everyone. Monday, April 13th. Hey Joseph, good to see you. Thanks everybody for joining us. As you know, African Ancestry, we're the pioneers of genetic ancestry tracing for Black people around the world. Our mission is to transform the way we view ourselves and the way we view Africa. And we do that through DNA. And so we are a community of over 1 million Black people around the world. 66 countries, every single state in the Union has taken our test. And so we are just happy. We're happy to be Black. We're happy to be African. And we celebrate that all the time. Speaking of celebrations, did you guys see our Don't Rush Challenge? Have you guys seen that? I know some of you have shouted us out. That was so much fun. Hey, Ty, thank you for being here. We had a ball. Let me know where you guys are coming in from. I know LA's in the house. I know New York is in the house. Hey, Mary. I know Indiana's in the house. Mary's always here. You ready to do your own, Nadria? Come on. Do it. Your own challenge or your own test? I need to know which one you want to do. Thank you, Vicky. You watched it twice. Hey, Zuri. Thanks for being here. It's good to see all of you guys. What's your sound? West Virginia. Okay, I can't remember West Virginia. Dallas. We've had Marcus Stone and Sequoia Allen. Thanks to everyone. Ohio, who has come on the African Ancestry Conversations with Family Members. Has a different name every time I say it because I never can remember. Senegal's in the house. All right. This is great to see. I am Fresno, California, Memphis. Okay, Memphis. I get so distracted by you guys' comments. I have to make a confession though. I started making some rice and I just make rice on the pot, on the stove, the old fashioned way. And I wasn't judging the time. So in the middle of this, you're going to hear a beep and I'm going to have to jump up and turn the stove off. I know it's embarrassing, but what you gonna do? It is what it is. Can't burn my house down. Harrisburg, PA. Glad to see you. So you all know that every day this month we are coming on live at 5 o'clock Eastern to have a conversation with an African Ancestry family member. And I thank you so much. I want to know, have you all liked the conversation so far? We've had a wide range of people who have had very different experiences with taking the African Ancestry test. And so I want to thank every single one of you. It's like 15 of you all now, 16 of you all who have come on so far and shared your experiences. It means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to those who are watching to get a different perspective from each person. Hello from Brazil. Well, all right, Brazil's in the house. And so today is no different. Today, I have to admit, I like everyone who's come on. I've had close friends, I've had new friends, but this one right here is one of my all-time favorite people in the whole wide world. NSangou Njikam is going to be joining us to talk about his African ancestry experience, and I'm very excited for you all to meet NSangou. I missed your request to join NSangou. I am not good at this. Shout out to Ty Brooks. She's in here as, I think she's in here as La Afro Hemien or something. She got all these different names on social media, but she has been holding it down remotely. Usually you all know she's keeping me in line on when we're in person on Wednesdays when we go live on Facebook at 6 p.m. Good evening, good evening. Thank you everyone for being here. But yeah, there she is, La Vie Afro Hem. But she has really been very, very, very on top of things, coordinating everyone who's coming on, filling the calendar out, sending me texts when you all can't see me, when the internet's acting up. So thank you, Ty, for all of that. Can I touch a little on the Mafa people one day? I can, and I will for you, Singleton Tim. I do know just off the top of my head, not very much, but they're in the northern part of Cameroon, and they descend from people who came west from from Sudan and other countries in the East. But if there is anyone on here, what countries are you representing? Your ancestry, Cameroon. If we have any Mafa people on, here he goes. Please chime in and share some information about the Mafa people. So, without further ado, Nsangou Njikam, the one, the only. What's up, Nsangou?
Gina Page, Dr. Gina Page.
How you doing?
I'm blacknificent. I'm blacknificent.
Good, good, good. I'm so glad to see you and to know that you are doing well up there in Brooklyn.
Yes, we're maintaining. How's DC?
DC, I'm surprised at the number of people that are out. I have to go to the post office because African Ancestry is still open. So I have to go to the post office and I have to go to the FedEx box at least once a day or once a day. And I'm really surprised to see so many people that are in cars. They're not out on the street, but in cars. I thought it'd be a little slower. But, DC, we probably have a good number of essential
Workers.
folks,
Yeah.
given where we are.
Makes
I don't
sense.
know. So, Nsangou,
Yes.
welcome to the Instagram African Ancestry Conversations.
I am honored to be here, as always.
So, we're going to start off with my word association. I probably learned this from you. I didn't mention, but Nsangou is an actor and a playwright and a teaching artist and just an MC. He's just an all around gifted and talented and ridiculously creative being.
Thank you.
But I'm going to give you 3 words, and I want you to tell me the first thing that comes to the first word that comes to mind
Okay.
when you hear a word. Okay.
Okay.
Africa.
Liberation.
DNA.
What's inside and my truth.
And identity.
What I wrote my play about.
Wait, say that again.
Oh, what I write my plays about.
Yeah. Speaking of plays, so tell the good people watching, Nsangou, what motivated you to take the African Ancestry test and what we found.
In 2008, along with my good friend and business partner, shout out to Nicole Salter.
Yes.
We formed a partnership with you as we were forming our organization, the Continuum Project. And we wanted to take the African Ancestry DNA test and theater and merge them together so that specifically young people would know where in Africa they came from, so that in truth, we could break the chains of psychological slavery and do some real healing through the arts. And so that meant that if we were going to ask the kids to do it, then we had to do it too. And so in 2009, in our very first cycle, Nicole and I both took our matriclan tests. And I was so excited to discover that I'm from the Tikar people of Cameroon. So shout out to Cameroon. Shout out to all the Tikar, Bamileke, Mafa Masa, Katoko, Ewando, everybody, Fulani, Hausa, all 300 and some odd ethnic groups in the country.
Right.
And that started a journey because it was very simple for me. If the reason that we were enslaved and that our trauma continued for so long is because of the removal of our cultural identity, then the healing begins when you get it back. It's just kind of simple identity math. So it sometimes is shocking to me when people don't want to know, but that speaks to why we are so caught up in the things we're caught up in, why history keeps repeating itself, because we haven't created a new reality that speaks to who we were before the slave trade and how that can affect who we can become. So my biggest question then was like, okay, how do I use this information in my art? And from that point forward, I decided that, you know, truth is best swallowed with a little bit of sugar. And so I decided to put some cultural and spiritual truths in some Africanized, sweet, delicious sugar. And that became the genesis for all of the plays that I would go on to create.
Speaking of plays that you've gone on to create, I'm gonna see if I can name them.
Okay.
Because I'm the president. In full disclosure, I'm the president of the NSangou Njikam fan club.
Yes.
So there's Sinking Ink. No, there's Redefinition.
Yep.
There is Sinking Ink.
Mm-hmm.
There is When We Left.
Mm-hmm.
You have a part 2 to When We Left.
Yes, there's When We Left part 1 and 2.
Part 2 to When We Left. And I know you've written for other people. I know you've written a radio play.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of the radio play.
That was called The Return. That was for Harlem Stages. Shout out to Harlem Stage.
Yep. So I've seen all of these, but then I think you've written some that I haven't seen yet. Post African Ancestry.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Post African Ancestry. I think there's some you've written that I haven't seen yet.
Yes. Well, I have to give shout out to my boss and my brother Common, since I've written most recently for him for his performance for Audible.com, as well as his opener for the NBA All-Star Game.
That's right. And when I saw that, I was like, you didn't say anything. You were just like, okay, just check it out. And I knew that you had done some work with him, but you never said anything about an All-Star Game. And I was listening. I was like, wait a minute. That has to be NSangou. Not the whole thing, but there were certain parts where I was like, that has to be NSangou. That has to be him. Well, congratulations. That's amazing. That's huge. And wasn't that like the best received All-Star opening ever?
It's been considered the best NBA All-Star performance in history by some. And then some people like Chuck D apparently quoted that it was the greatest hip-hop TV performance in history.
Well, Chuck D said it, then I believe it. He agrees with me.
Right.
Shout out to Chuck D. When you gonna find your roots, Chuck D?
Yeah, come on.
So NSangou, I remember. Oh wait, did you hear me when I said that I was making some rice and I forgot?
Yes. You want me to hold down the fort?
1 second.
Okay. All right. I'll hold down the fort. So I guess you're wondering why I've called you all here today. So.
Okay.
All right. Oh, sorry. I was just talking to the people.
Off. Wait.
I was going to hold it down for you, GP. I was going to hold it down.
It helps to have a little tiny house. That way you can get there quick. Okay. So when you did Redefinition, you did an excerpt of it. And I didn't know you guys at this point. I mean, I'd met Nicole because she came to the office. I didn't know you very well. I just knew that you guys had incorporated the test into the Continuum Project. And you came to the Smithsonian Museum of African Art.
Yes.
And you did an excerpt from the play. And I was in it. And I was like, oh my goodness. So that was just astounding. And I'm not asking you to do that part, but could you just do a little bit from Redefinition? I don't know if you're rusty, if if it's in the recesses of your mind somewhere, but I just would love for people to have just a little taste of Redefinition.
Sure. Let's see. So I should probably give context to Redefinition, which is about the discovery of my T-car roots. And there was an incident that happened that really spawned the need for me to know where I was from. So I'm going to kind of do it differently than I did in the show because I don't have all my accompaniment. But it all started on a warm Labor Day, when every year in Brooklyn on Eastern Parkway, the sounds and the sights and the smells come to play in the culture of the West Indian Day Parade. Aki and the saltfish, oxtail or goat, women with the feathers dancing sexy on their floats, sounds of the reggae and the calypso. I stand with the people to learn Carib flow. When suddenly a friend of mine walks my way, she starts to dance with me. I follow her sway. She dances and she whines and her hips twist and bend, but the dance was interrupted by two of her friends. One was named Tanisha, the other named Corinne. They say, "What's up, Tanya? And who is your friend?" Then Tanya said back with a sexy little grin, "Glenn, these are the ladies. Ladies, this is Glenn." So now I'm in the mix with these three fly girls. One was Jamaican. She's a Trench Town pearl. One was Trini from an East countryside. She looked Indian with these fly hazel eyes. The others from Barbados, I don't remember where, but how they were all dancing, I really didn't care. They danced with me, and then the Trini one asked, "What island are you from?" No, wait, let me guess. She guessed I'm Jamaican or maybe Guyanese. Then Tanya turned around and said, "Hold up, man, please. Don't pump his head up. None of that is in his blood. Not Bajan, not Trini, not no Jamaican. No, no, my friends, he ain't hardly none of that. Glenn ain't Caribbean. He's just plain old black."
Just black?
Just plain old black. Why you even got to go and say it like that? Like you all complete and there's something I lack. Like you ain't never had the skin whipped off your back. Like you float on high waters and my soul sinks. You act like you fine wine. I'm more like grape drink. You shine like gold while I dull like copper. Her words hurt my soul. I just wanted to drop her, just cut her from the knees like her words cut me. Suddenly I'm rebonded when I thought I was free. And now I ain't feeling this parade at all, so I couldn't respond when the reggae called. I turned and walked away and left the music behind. Felt the rain in my heart while the sun still shines. Just black, just
Black?
plain old black. Why you even gotta go and say it like that?
Woo-hoo-hoo!
I haven't
You
done
all
that in
see
a
why
long
I love
time.
him? And this is just in his living room with no advance warning from a play that is not 10, 11 years old now.
Yes, yes. And shout out to this mask behind me is actually T-Car. So the ancestors are looking at me like, you better get that right.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Sangou, for indulging me in
Of
that.
course.
And shout out to the whole redefinition cast and crew. And I have to give you a big shout out because Chadwick Boseman directed the first, what do you call it?
The workshop.
The workshop of redefinition. And that's when he took our test.
That's right. That's right.
If it wasn't for you talking to him and getting him to take this test, we would not have experienced the success that we've experienced over the last 2 years since he shot us out. So thank you, Sangou, for that.
Well, shout out to Chadwick Boseman because not only did he agree to take on directing the piece and helping to produce it as well, but while we were in rehearsal for Redefinition, little known Black fact is around the time that he booked 42.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And it's okay if I say it on live because he mentions he was directing a play in early interviews.
Okay.
And that play that he was directing was my show Redefinition. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Shout out. This is NSangou Njikam, formerly known as Glenn Gordon. That was the Glenn that he was talking about in the play. Coming to us from Brooklyn, New York, African Ancestry family member. And I wanted you to share that, one, because I'm selfish and I love it. But two, people always ask, well, what do people do once they find out? And one of the things that you did was you wrote a play.
Right.
What are some of the other things you've done, Sangou, since you've learned of your T-Car ancestry?
I went to the Bamoun Kingdom, which is a T-Car kingdom. And I got named by the T-Car king. That's where NSangou Njikam comes from. Sangou is actually the name of his great-grandfather, who was also a king. And let's see, what else have I done? My first produced play called ID was actually in South Africa.
DNA ID. I forgot that ones.
Yes. So shout out to Steve Broadnax, my T-Car brother. Since then, what
You've
else have
learned
I
the
done?
language.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, Pokendo Gwen, which is how you say good afternoon in Bamun. Um, and so yeah, so shout out to the Bamun Kingdom. Shout out to Injitam and Gambe T-Car and Bankim and all the villages that make up the T-Car Kingdom. Um, the biggest thing is I took the time to learn the culture. And in learning the culture, you understand why you do the things you do. And then I got infused into all of my work. There's not a single piece of work that I do now that doesn't have an influence of the ancestors, and specifically some T-Car stuff. So, you know, the sky's the limit when you get an African ancestry test, and the limit is the sky when you get another test. So
When you take the wrong test, in the
don't
words
take
of
the
your
wrong
brother,
test. That's
Chadwick
why I'm
Boseman.
Sangou Njikam, because I'm here to tell you, I know my name because I took the right test. And I've helped others know their culture since they took the right test.
One of the other things that you've done, not since, well, yeah, you started right when you took the test, but the other extremely impactful thing that you've done with Nicole and Lavonda and all the others, I'm trying to remember everybody's name now, Ashley and Kari and Tracy and your whole team. Who's the sister that made the jewelry? Back when you guys were still at the middle school in, I can't think of her name. Anyway.
Okay. And Dominique Morisseau also worked with us. Shout out to playwright Dominique Morisseau, who wrote Ain't Too Proud on Broadway.
Shout out to Dominique. Yeah, this is, you guys created this program called the Continuum Project, and you kind of glossed over it, but that project has impacted over 100 young people.
Yeah, I think
and
we're like
adults.
in the one.
So can you talk about that some?
So we wanted to prepare people for the test. And how do you best prepare to know something you thought you'd never know? You have to go through not just questions, but activities and physicalize it. So we have, let's see, when we started and we were in middle school, how many weeks did we do? 9? We did 9. So 9 weeks of theater games and building work, telling stories, sharing those stories, and creating a play. And then they performed the play in front of an audience at the end of the 9 weeks. And at the end of the play, that's when we reveal their ancestry in front of everybody, family, friends, strangers. So we've worked now in New York and DC, from middle school up to adult. And we've been on Finding Your Roots. And it's been a huge blessing to help break some chains and to create new beginnings, and to see people excel because they know where they're from. So,
and one of the things, I'm sorry, one of the things that I found especially impactful, at least to watch, because I was able to be at the very beginning when they did the swabbing. A couple of times I was able to see a rehearsal, not a rehearsal, but see a rehearsal. And it was always mostly with the kids. And you all taught them these African performance techniques. Am I right?
Yes.
And you had them exploring their own identity. So these were they 8th graders?
All middle school.
Okay, middle school kids, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, exploring their own identities. You asked them questions like, when did you first realize you were Black?
Right.
Things
When
like
did you first encounter racism? What will you do when you know where you're from? What do you think is going to happen next? How will it change you? and express it through call and response, multiple meter, percussion. The storytelling can be circular and not linear. All of the things we naturally do that we don't always lift up as storytelling, they used. So it was dope.
Yeah, and they didn't. They improvised everything. There was only one thing that they memorized or had written down.
Their ancestor monologues, right?
So they did these monologues. Again, you all, these are kids. They did these monologues where I remember at least one cycle where they had written a letter to their ancestors,
yes,
their grandparent,
at least their great grandparent. It had to be 4 generations or more, about what they wanted to be their legacy going forward.
Listen. So African Ancestry can't take credit for that part of his genius, but we're taking credit for the fact that he decided to incorporate this ancestral work with these young people. And then you did it in high school, you did it at Howard University.
Shout out to my alma mater.
Right? You did it at the University of
we did it at Penn State.
And then you've done it with adults who are out of school, working artists. And
yes.
So I want to publicly thank you for doing the work that you do, Sangou. I learn something every single time you open your mouth, be it on a stage or in an audience. So many of the little tweaks in my presentation that I give when I travel the world come directly from your training. And I'm like,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wasn't that good last time because he hadn't given me that tweak yet.
I forgot we've had many conversations like ancestral imperative.
Man, I say that like I made it up myself. I'm like,
you basically
ancestry is an ancestral imperative. But in my heart, all the what do you call it? Credit goes to you. I'm Dr. Gina Page, president and co-founder of AfricanAncestry.com.
Yeah.
We are the pioneers of genetic ancestry tracing for Black people around the world. And I'm here with another super African Ancestry ambassador, NSangou Njikam, who's repping the Tikar people of Cameroon.
That's right.
He graced us with some of his lyrics. Now, there's some people on here who've been shouting out Sinking Ink.
Oh,
Before we get to that, the Unapologetic Hustle wants to know, how can people get in touch with you?
The NSangou Njikam on Instagram.
Okay, the NSangou Njikam. And Ty, if you could put that, there it is. Thank you. So now, as we wrap it up, because sometimes I have you on the phone forever, but this is supposed to be a brief conversation. As we wrap it up, can you tell us about your latest project, Sinking Ink?
Yes, an Orisha ritual of hip hop theater. And I wish I could be like, let me show the clip, but I'll show you this. This is the cast. Shout out to the cast.
Oh, shout out to the cast of Sinking Ink. If you all don't know, that's DJ Reborn, and that's Adeshala and Nuri, Sangou, and I can't remember the sister.
Mackenzie
and Cara, and I don't have my glasses. Elijah. They are amazing. So what's up with Sinking Ink?
So we are prepping for a return. Nice. We did Houston and New York in 2017, Joe's Pub in 2019, and in 2021, we're back to prepare for the ultimate stage, the ultimate spotlight, because theater needs to make some changes, and it needs to allow for the ancestors to start to speak some truths so we can all heal. And so this hip hop theater ritual of Sinking Ink, where the Orisha guide us through a journey of initiation and transformation, is going to be at a theater here in New York, off Broadway. and then it's going to move somewhere bigger.
Hey, I can't wait. I cannot wait. When you all did Sinking Ink down in, was it the Village or what's that neighborhood? Tribeca.
And Tribeca. Mm-hmm.
In Tribeca, I was telling I was on this, we weren't on Instagram then, but we were on Facebook. I was like, you gotta come to New York. Come meet me in New York at Sinking Ink. It is just incredible. You thought you knew what hip hop musicals were, hip hop theater was, because you saw Hamilton. Well, that ain't real hip hop theater.
No, sorry, Lin-Manuel, but we bring the real stuff.
It's excellent. They did a great job, but Sinking Ink takes this to a whole nother level, and it's about us, and it's about being African, and it's about being proud of being African, and telling those stories of our Africanness through our American experience with hip hop and live DJing and
live freestyle battle at the end of every show.
They go out, at least in the past, they would go up in the audience and freestyle. They just pick somebody in the audience and start freestyling. So I can't wait for that. And you know, African Ancestry, there's going to be an African Ancestry night at one of those performances. I'm saying that now on Instagram. There will be an African Ancestry night.
In fact, one of the things we're looking to do is to have ways to connect the show to people having connections to their roots, because the show is about lineage and legacy and the power of legacy, that people are going to want to know, Sangou, how did you do this? And then it goes to the African Ancestry story. Well, wait, I want to know where I'm from. Well, look no further. Dr. Gita Page and African Ancestry are here. And we want to help people. Like, for me, it would be a goal for all of us to, in the United States and in the diaspora, to know our roots so clearly that we create and build only from African performance aesthetics. People go, what are they? You have to study the culture to know the aesthetic. You have to know who you are to know the culture. So thankfully, I'm learning who I am and how to apply it to the work, and then how to make the work be more than just entertainment, but be something that helps Black businesses, something that helps small businesses, and something that ultimately makes us feel powerful. That's why we do this work. Once you heal, you must empower. Once you empower, you must put that power to balanced, positive use, so that everyone who feels your power is better for it. That's why I do my art, but it all starts with knowing who I am. No artist can do an art lying to themselves. Trust me, I've seen it. It don't work. But if you're honest with yourself, you make good art. And as Black people, let's make some art that shows that we never stop being African. We just have to remember.
Am I supposed to say something now?
No.
Where's the mic? I feel like, all right, peace. We out. You heard it here at African Ancestry on Instagram from the NSangou Njikam, Super African Ancestry Ambassador, and I am the president self-appointed president of his fan club.
Yes.
I'm Dr. Gina Page.
I approve that message.
Yes. I'm Dr. Gina Page. Thank you for joining us. You know, we are here every day in April at 5 o'clock p.m. talking to a different African Ancestry family member about their experience. You heard it from Sangou. Please share this. If anything, his little monologue that he did from Redefinition will uplift somebody you know today, tomorrow, and the next day. So please, please, please share this. Join us back here tomorrow. And as I say every day, please stay safe. Please follow the directions. Please wear your face mask. Shout out to Simply Cecily. If you go to @Simply Cecily, she's doing face masks. She's having a mask-a-thon on Saturday over at Simply Cecily. Continue to social distance, wear your gloves, disinfect everything that you bring in from the outside. Let's just be safe, you all, so that we can get through this thing to the other side. Until tomorrow, may you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you be whole.
African Ancestry forever.
Take care, Sangou.
Take care, Gina.
Bye-bye.